Okay, yeah. So, hello. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Arden.
I'm Anthony.
And yeah, we're going to be playing Surgeon Simulator 2013. Are you ready to do some surgery, Tony?
I think so.
All right, so am I. So, because this is new, let's just go into the format a little bit.
Yeah, good.
We're just going to be playing this. Hold on a second. Just making sure we're recording while I'm doing this. But the idea is we're just going to be playing this podcast for an hour. And, okay, we are. Okay. While we do it, we're going to talk about the events of this week, what's going on in politics and news, just a little bit of science today, and just some nerdy culture stuff that I'm looking forward to. I don't know about you, Tony.
I am too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good talk.
Yeah. So I don't doubt for a second that many people are going to die in this game. This is one thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about this game, this is a unique game where the whole point is for us not to kill people, and I get the distinct impression that's exactly what we're going to do.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to give it a try, I guess.
You haven't even seen the actual gameplay start yet, so that's exciting. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, I'll just take you through some of it. Oh, okay. Well, the idea is that you control this hand poorly, but you can do it to pick up stuff like this. No, like this. Come on. Okay, well, not that, but I can pick up this pretty good. There we go. Oh. Okay. Well,
so you have to control each of your fingers individually, right?
Yeah, and you can move the hand, and you're supposed to be able to grab things. Obviously, I'm still really shitty at it, but I think that'll just add to the humor. Because
so too.
I feel like I'd be a pretty terrible surgeon to begin with, and given these control parameters, yeah, it's not going to go great. But yeah, I think that's about all the introduction we need for this game.
Yeah, we're warmed up.
It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to just do surgeries while we start to talk about this. You excited to start?
I am.
All right.
Looking forward to this.
So we have 3 options for surgery. This is surgery mode, where we're just doing it on an operating table. Ambulance mode, oh, well, it's not unlocked yet, but you do it in an ambulance, presumably. And space mode, which I'm pretty sure is attempting to do surgery in 0 gravity.
0G.
Yeah.
Right.
So everything's floating, and so hopefully...
It looks pretty hard to begin with, so...
Yeah.
In normal G at first.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, there's stuff that I haven't even gone in, mentioned to you yet, but I'll leave that as a nice little surprise. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start on this surgery, and we'll just let's ride with the game for now, before we go into the topics, because we have a lot of time.
I see you have some interesting tools there.
Yep. So we have drugs to make sure their blood level, which is up there, stays at a certain point. We have all the body parts. We have our lovely patient. Let's see here. I almost flipped a bird, but no,
lovely.
I'm trying to be soothing. Oh,
nice little smack. Our lovely patient. There goes the watch.
It's for him. And you know what? It didn't end up in his body, and I think that's a huge success. So, oh god. Okay. Well, what am I doing? A heart transplant.
So, do you have to take your watch off before surgery?
I have seen it in other videos fall off. Oh god, this thing's just in the way. Go away. Go away, sheet. Come. Now my hand's flipped.
This game's going to be a lot of fun, and it looks fun.
I think so. So, while I attempt to get this sheet off, why don't you pick out a topic from our lovely list of topics there that we'll be talking about today. Well,
all right.
I believe I found the heart.
Well, it looks like a lot of these have been in the news lately, I guess, these topics.
I picked out for politics a lot of stuff in the news, and for the science thing, I just picked out something that I thought was quite interesting and we can talk about. And then culture is also things going on today. Oh, and actually there's a couple that I forgot about, but I happily remember them, so I'll talk about those too later. So,
all right.
Whatever you are thinking.
Sure. Well, one topic that I've been seeing in the news a lot lately, obviously, is the Isreal and Gaza crisis, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Basically rocket fire between them, right?
Yeah. And we were talking about that earlier even, and well, just like the situation in Israel, kind of before all this stuff started happening.
Yeah.
I forget what the context was of that, but I think it was me talking about World War Z, which is something I'm always talking about, so I wouldn't be surprised. All right, I cannot pick up that saw for the life of me.
Well, to be honest, I haven't read that much about this topic this time, like in the news, I mean, lately.
Yeah.
But I what's going on over there?
Well, from what I understand, Hamas started the rebellion, well, this time, and
Right. Well, I mean, they're they're often sending rockets over, I think, right?
that's right. And
Firing rockets.
the idea is that, okay.
Oh.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay.
Be careful with that drill. That's hilarious.
He's losing. He's all right. Yeah. So the idea is that Hamas basically started this. Oh yes. Jeez, I need to pick up that hammer. Anyways, Hamas started this rebellion, and they are. It's for the usual reasons about like the larger issues that historically plague the area. All right.
Right.
Gonna bash out
But I
his
mean,
bones.
is this just not just like what I'm saying is Hamas is responsible for a lot of violence, I guess against Israel, right?
Mhm.
So is this current like increase in violence basically like what's happening right now, and then retaliation from Israel?
Well, yeah, and Israel, like as of even today, has been sending like tanks into Gaza, and so
Right.
obviously the situation is just escalating. Oh dear. Okay, I believe this person's gonna die, but the idea is that.
More.
Oh god, this is a very difficult game. All right, I'm pretty sure this drug will stop him from bleeding. All I have to do is just there we go. Oh, now he's bleeding way more. Oh no. Okay.
Right in the face you gave him. Is that where you have to give people the drugs?
It's what I've seen other people do. I thought it was. Oh, maybe it's this drill is digging into it.
It's still digging.
There we go.
Yeah, interesting choice of tools for sure.
Well, it was
The
the ones
hammer.
that I could easiest pick up.
Well, not just you. I mean, that you're
The ones that
given
they
in
give
this
me.
game.
Yeah. So, yeah. But my interpretation of the whole Gaza thing, at least at the moment, is that, like, basically, this is all just part of the same historical fight. Like, I was watching stuff about this on Al Jazeera, and every single comment was just going back to, like, oh, like, these are the Jews' homes. And it's like, no, the Jews took this home. And then I started, like, someone went on this whole diatribe about how as far back as like 1948 when they did all this, and then someone's like when they the UN offered the truce to or not the truce but like the Israel as part of the state, and Britain handed it over because they controlled that colony at the time.
Right.
Then someone went back all the way to how the Israelites rightfully owned this land from their time.
Okay, right.
With the going all the way back to when they conquered it from the Canaanites, and to me it seems like it's all very almost petty at this point. Like, does that make sense? We aren't I don't see fighting over something that's hundreds of years old, and I know that's an obvious statement. It's just like, oh, why can't you coexist? But and the person's dead. But that's okay. I got distracted with Israeli talk.
All right, I'm gonna get this.
Brutal murder achieved in a mere 5 minutes and 54 seconds. Wow, that is pretty bad.
It's good.
All right, well, Tony's going to attempt the next heart transplant. I found it very difficult, but I'll let you attempt it for yourself.
Woo! Okay. How do you do the rotation again?
Right click with the mouse,
And then the other one.
and then you just move it with the mouse, and then
yeah. All right. So you got rid of the watch first, right?
Yes. Well, by stroking his face lovingly, which I think is a reassuring thing for the unconscious patient anyways. There you go. There you go, buddy.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
So, yeah, I didn't really have much else to say about Israel other than, it feels like this situation that I don't have a good answer to, because this is a religious war in a sense. It's fueled by that, and in part there's political and economic reasons, and I just don't see an easy end for the whole situation at all. And
me neither.
yeah, so that's all I really had to say about that. It kind of became rambling because I was trying to save a man's life at the time, but that's your job now, And you actually picked up the buzzsaw. I'm very impressed. I couldn't get that thing in my hands.
I put one of my finger. Oh, I gotta probably rotate. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit absorbed in this.
No worries. It does. It sucks you in. I thought this game was going to be really bad, but it's actually quite impressive. Oh, the watch is down. Well, it didn't get in him, so that's good. And yeah, I think if you actually can grip that saw, it will probably be very much more practical than the hammer, which I just kind of dragged along the rib cage. And yeah, so while you attempt to do that,
all right, I'm sorry.
No, it's good because I'm gonna pick out another topic, and you know, unless yeah.
Well, like I've been reading some articles in the news on the Israeli Palestinian crisis lately, anyway, that have been coming out.
Okay.
And like, I don't really know. It does seem kind of like a continuation of what's been going on.
Yeah.
And
but you were saying even you
increased
took
violence.
a course like on that history and stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, it all just reeks of the same old argument, like this is our land, like.
Oh, it's definitely that's how it was presented in the course anyway.
Yeah.
Like territory is probably the main topic over there.
Right. And that's
of disagreement.
Well, no, and I get that's what you're saying. Yeah, that's like it all just comes down to this territory fight, and. I understand, in particular, I have a lot of empathy for like the Palestinians and stuff because, and I'm half Jewish, but like obviously I'm not overly attached to it. But as like a Jewish immigrant, to me, it's just so hard to understand. And I get like I haven't been to Israel. I don't like for those people, it's their home, and it's been that way for almost 70 years now. Like
right.
If not 70 years. Oh, it'll be 70 years, like 2018. So that's a long time. And so to them, it's not even like, oh, we moved here because, yeah, like really, there's a lot of places that Jews would be perfectly comfortable with. Canada, like they could go to like Timmins area.
Yeah, true.
And just start a new life there. It'll be great.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean. That is one option.
Not that, yeah. Sorry.
Well, to move somewhere else.
Anthony
is
from Timmins, so I was just giving him crap, and not, we don't have to get anything more specific. Yeah, but
I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. A lot of people care about that land, and I think that's the main point of disagreement too.
Yeah,
so
and that's the other part that distorts is we're not attached to Jerusalem or anything like that, and those people legitimately are, and there's like. Memories there and stuff, and it would be cool to go to like the Wailing Wall and all that. I might do that next year actually. Are you familiar with Birthright?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Well, we talked a bit about it.
Yeah, I was gonna explain it anyway. So, oh, by the way, excellent rib extraction. I bet you could just grab that lung and move it out if you needed to.
Oh, I need to? Oh, he's gonna die. We need some drugs over here.
You should probably focus on getting that buzzsaw out of his chest first.
New hard point. All right, good idea. Oh, it's still running.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Well, I think you nicely removed a bunch of stuff that's gonna be in the way, so that's good.
Losing a lot of blood.
Yeah. So try getting that green drug. Now I'm gonna warn you right now. If you prick yourself with it, you are going to experience side effects. So be careful. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll move on to another topic, but I think that's unless you have anything else to say on that, but
I don't think so.
Yeah. If you can't tell, this is going to be a very schizophrenic kind of podcast where we alternate between talking about our performance in the surgery and oh, nice, you stopped his bleeding. Very good, very good.
All right.
That's okay. I think you're actually going to do all right on the surgery here. You might actually.
I don't even know what the point of it is. What am I supposed to get out?
You're doing a heart transplant, so you gotta. You
still
can.
Stuck.
Oh, the top rib's still
go
there.
The fast way.
I think the liver is just popping straight out, but that's okay. He's fine. He's not even bleeding.
Oh, I see. You can push both at once. All right.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So let's go on to another topic. Israel is depressing, and we don't have anything much to add to that. We failed to solve the Israeli crisis. Sorry everyone. That's our bad. We'll work on that and get back to you. But for now, I would like to talk about Captain America's adventure with statutory rape, which is something that you've seen the topic a couple times now, and I've neglected to really explain the context of it because I thought it was
right.
I think I might have given you a little bit on it, but I want it to be as vague as possible because I feel like we could. It's going to be a lot of fun just going into stuff. Oh, you can grab a lot of that with your hands, by the way, like the ribs. What are you trying?
Oh, I'm trying to give him this blue needle now.
Oh, the blue one. Well, he's only losing like. Oh, well, maybe yeah. That seems to be out of reach for some reason. There's also a lot of random stains on your hand.
I've been a little messy in the surgery, but he'll be okay. Maybe.
I was impressed by the degree to which you stopped his bleeding and successfully removed his ribs. That's way better than what I did. So I think you're doing great. Although you are running out of blood, which is going to be difficult. Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. This game is pretty hard though. It's a lot of fun.
Oh no.
I definitely recommend it.
Well, that's good to know. I was surprised at how fun this is and how because it's such a weird control scheme. Which I guess we haven't gone into too much. The idea is you control your 4 fingers and your thumb with one button. And I am not at all kidding, by the way. And Anthony is right now maneuvering his hand using the mouse.
Up and down.
Up and down and left and right. Yeah, all that twirling. And so you literally are just controlling your hand. And the idea is that you can kind of be as messy as the surgery as long as that blood level doesn't reach 0 and as long as you actually successfully replace his heart with the new heart. I'm a little worried this guy's going to die, though.
Oh, he's going to.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
All right. Well, he'll be just fine.
Use one of these.
A cup?
Well, okay. He might not be okay.
That's all right. You did quite well. All right. So, like I was saying, as I've left this... Oh, you just injected yourself. Oh, no. Oh, God, Tony. You've hit the sauce.
What did you do?
What the hell have you done, Paige? Oh, there you go. Yeah, just rifle around in his insides. All right. I have teased the idea of Captain America having an adventure with statutory rape for far too long. We have no context for this. Let's tell the story. So, there is a comic book writer out there named Rick Remender.
Okay.
Who he is not important, but he's done X-Force. He did that Winter Soldier thing, and you've read some of that.
I read a few of those.
He's a writer. And sometimes he writes really good stuff, and other times he writes really stupid stuff. And one of the really stupid stuff he writes is Captain America. And,
why is that?
Well,
I don't know much about Captain America, but...
All right. Now, our mutual friend Dylan is the one who's mostly informed me about this opinion, but I've read a few issues of this, and I largely agree. And I know Rick Remender's other works well enough to know this is the case. And so Captain America, along with all of Marvel, was rebooted in 2012. Not really shaking things up too much beyond just reassigning new writers and creators to different characters and just shaking up the the rosters. So who's on the Avengers, who's on this team of the X-Men and stuff like that.
Okay.
Rick Remender was put in charge of a couple of titles, one of which was Captain America. And the story, I don't want to go into it because it's quite long and very complicated, but the story, for lack of a better word, is a mess. And it's just one of those instances, I'm sure that you'll think of movies or come to mind or something of when you just put in too many plot ideas, too much stuff going on, and it's just hard to enjoy it.
Okay.
So you know what I'm talking about there?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if something comes to mind, but
Sorry.
I think of the latest Amazing Spider-Man movie was just trying to do too much at once. Oh, it's okay, but yeah. Well, you achieved brutal murder in a mere 10 minutes. He lived. That's twice as long as how long he lived for mine, but that's pretty good. Yeah. So, Captain America's story also involves this weird zone where time just moves at a slower rate. So a year in our world would equal 10 years in their world.
Okay, right.
And what they do is that, I don't know exactly the details, but basically Captain America just jumps 12 years almost immediately at the start of the story. So unnecessary time jumps are never a great sign for anything, but we moved along and a bunch of stuff happened, and basically this girl who was introduced in the story as this 14-year-old girl grew up in that place until she was 24. So 10 years had passed, but this is a person who's lived those 10 years. She describes her 23rd birthday in this issue that the statutory rape adventure happens in. Now, are you familiar with the Falcon?
No, not really.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So, no, it's fine. That's lots of people at home won't be. A little more than usual because Captain America 2, he's in that, but not everyone's seen Captain America 2. Oh, not you?
No, I haven't.
So neither of us have, so that's fine. But the idea is that he's Captain America's black best friend. And that's
all right.
About as racist as it sounds.
This isn't going where I think it's going, though, is it?
It probably will. And yeah,
At first I thought Captain America was involved in this incident, but
no, it's his adventure because it's his title, and we'll get to that in a sec. But this is a story mostly about the Falcon. So back in the 70s and 60s, when Captain America was reintroduced, because, well, and this is an interesting story too. I don't know if you know this, but Captain America is a character that originates from the comics. I think I watched this drop.
Yeah.
From the 1940s, and he was very much like a World War II propaganda, if you want to call it that, but just like a patriotic figure to raise the spirits of everyone and rah 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 and all that stuff. And he was actually just kind of went away as a character until the 60s when he joined the Avengers, and he was literally found to have been frozen in a block of ice all along. Which I always thought was kind of a neat little detail because it worked well for like the modern story where they actually went with that like in the movies.
Okay, right.
And that's why like the first one's in World War II and all that stuff. I just think it works nice because it wouldn't make sense to really have someone like Captain America just start out that way post World War II. Just doesn't fit culturally very well. And he's always been kind of this man at a time.
All right.
So, but like, you know, back in the 60s when they had them as a character, there was also, you know, the civil rights movement going on, and they needed to introduce more black characters. And so I have always found it amusing, but both Iron Man and...
You got your hammer stuck in his ribs there.
Yeah, Iron Man and Captain America each have their own best black friends. And Captain America's is the Falcon, and Tony Stark, like Iron Man's, is War Machine, Jim Rhodes, who we all know from the movies. I assume you've seen, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Don Cheadle / that other black guy from the first movie who wasn't Don Cheadle but is now Don Cheadle because of magic. Oops. I almost flipped the audience off there. Here, that's
That's hilarious.
All right, there you go. There you go, audience. While my patient bleeds out, I took the time to tell you all the fuck right off. Because that's the kind of attitude we take here. In the story, I don't know exactly how the circumstances happened because, like everyone, I don't care about Captain America's comic at the moment. But sure enough, the Falcon ends up sleeping with this girl, who isn't actually, so chronologically to the story, very, very technically, she's 14 years old.
How did that become part of the story?
I don't know. They were in a hotel, they had some wine, things happened.
Oh, understandably.
Yeah, so booze is how it happened. And I think that's actually a pretty good answer, is like, oh, they were drunk. And you know what?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, 2 consenting adults got drunk. And they're like, Rick Remender even responded like, oh, like, because it's a black man sleeping with a white woman, like, maybe that's why everyone's having a big problem. Because they started this whole giant trend on Twitter called, like, Fire Rick Remender, because they were, like, saying that he's pro-statutory rape or something like that.
Okay.
Which, you know, I'm not even Rick Remender's biggest fan, if you can tell, but the guy is not pro-statutory rape. And as an outsider, having heard the story just indirectly from me, I'm actually curious what you think about all this. Like, do you think he's in the wrong here? Do you think, like, you only are hearing it secondhand, and I've seen the panels, and it's really not much more than that. They woke up in a hotel room.
Whenever it's part of a story that someone's, like, very young, well, I don't know, man. Like,
yeah.
I've been thinking, we talked about another book, me and some friends from school, I guess, which was, like, kind of had to do with the same thing, where young people are involved in sexual, like, encounters, right?
Yeah.
And,
well, and it's always weird.
Captain America's sidekick, I'm just wondering why they're writing, or he wrote him in, like, getting involved with someone so young? That's my question.
That's fair, because even like the idea is that she's supposed to be 24, and that's how he viewed her in the story. Certainly. Oops! I just stabbed that guy with the hammer. Oh well. Come on, break up.
Okay, but at the same time, that's part of the story that he thought she was older.
Yes.
So they got busy, and she was actually younger.
No, like she's by every metric, physically, mentally, like experienced and has all the knowledge and stuff of a 24-year-old. The only way she's 14 is that from our perspective, from our time, she's 14. Because 10 years it happened in that weird alternate universe that it just goes faster. But in no real way is she that young.
I don't know what to think about that. If the guy's still implying that, like, she's 14.
He really isn't. He went out of his way to say that she was 24, like the page before this happened.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Like even in his mind. Oh God, I'm gonna have to get to that syringe. All right, move, bitch, get out of the way. I think I just.
You'll leave it long on the table there.
Well, where else am I gonna put it? Uh-oh. This does not look good for the needles. Anyways, yeah. So, and like you're right. Every time, like, so I remember they did this Ultimate Spider-Man thing where it's basically about Spider-Man's life as a teenager and just like this inexperienced kid trying to figure out his way in the world. Here, buddy, come here. There you go.
Right in the head.
Oh no!
Oh, you got a little bit there too.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? I always find it's fun to just act all drugged out while on drugs in video games. There's something about it. What do you think, guy? You enjoying the ride as much as I am? Your heart's right open, right in front of us. Look at this.
Oh yeah, you got pretty
Look
deep
at
in there.
this. Yeah, buddy. All right. Hopefully this will sort itself out. Oh, where'd the buzzsaw go? I can't even see. Yeah. No. All right. Anyways, so that's all I really. Oh yeah. So like they did this thing with Spider-Man where it was. So he's like a teenager and he's talking with Mary Jane about having sex and stuff. There's a very uncomfortable side of it where it's like I'm reading a story about teenagers talking about whether or not they want to have sex right now.
Right.
And yeah. But it was done in a mature way. It wasn't done for exploitation purposes. It's confronting a very real issue for a lot of people. That's a mug. Here you go, buddy. Uh-oh. Okay. Wow, you stay on drugs for a long time in this game. Yeah, I'll just keep removing stuff while we're waiting. Yeah, I think I did that. Alright. Yeah. So that's about all I really had to say on the matter. It's one of those situations where I feel like the outside world overreacted to something that really wasn't that big a deal.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And I don't know if you obviously you don't have the full context of it, but that's basically the situation. And yeah, and I think part of it too is you have this new sense of journalism, if you can call it that, where and you were watching a video about this sort of thing where people are just begging for stories, so you end up with who was that person interviewing, what's her name, just on The View and stuff, Barbara Walters.
This was
just before we left to get the pizza.
Was that her name?
I think
I'm
so.
Sorry.
Yeah,
it
is Barbara.
But it
Walters.
came up on my Facebook anyway, and it's a fight between two celebrity.
Yeah, but Barbara Walters is always tries to set her up as this big important interviewer, and yeah, she's asking Mariah Carey what she thought about what Nicki Minaj thought of her. Yeah. And we end up in this culture where everything. Well, these drugs, they just really wear off soon. I'm having some issues.
So you think it just got blown up in the news?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really.
Yeah, there's too much.
Everything gets written about, but depends the way it's done. You know what I mean? If it's not some kind of perverted adventure, then I don't see a problem.
I agree, and it's very possible that someone with sick views could end up writing a comic book, but Rick Remender's been doing this for a long time, and I really don't think it comes down to some sort of anti-woman business or pro-rape or anything like that, because that's pretty crazy. And even if Rick Remender was in favor of that, you'd think that an editor or someone in charge over at Marvel would have stopped it. And
Right.
I just don't see that in the story. And yeah, it's just people desperate for clicks online drudge this stuff up, and then we end up talking about this for, I don't even know. 10 minutes. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, so that's about all I have to say about this. My patient is losing blood, but I'm too strung out on drugs to care, and too unable to do anything because of it. So if you want to pick out another topic, you can go ahead while I slowly and skillfully kill this patient. Maybe I can have some water.
All right. Well, while we're on the topic of comic books anyway, let's talk about the death of Archie.
Oh, yes, sure. So this was recently announced in the news, and Archie actually is a kind of a funny story. And to give you an idea of how much of an impact this appears to have had, oh no, the saw is gone.
So we've been talking, like I've read it, like
Yeah.
the old Archies. You've been reading a new series,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
What is
So-
this part of? I don't even really know.
Okay, so let's start with that. This guy's gonna die, and I'm gonna let him bleed out because I can't do anything on the drugs, and then you can take over.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go into another long-winded story, and this one is about Archie. And so let's start from the beginning. Yes. Now I don't know exactly when Archie was started, but I believe it was in the '60s, or I don't know. Like it must have been before that because it's always kind of been stuck in that '50s culture setting. Like where he has that old car that was old by the standards of the '50s, so it just looks like something from the '30s, and it's
jalopy.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we both grew up indirectly exposed to these double digest stuff. Neither of us a fan. Like, I don't know. Well, if you were, by no
I thought
means.
they were funny. Pretty cheesy, though.
Yeah, okay. Like, I found it charming at first, but I just found the humor so bland and so cheesy. And it didn't help that my sisters had a lot of these, so I've also read a lot of these. And to me, it's always just been like, hey, Betty, like, do you want to go get ice cream with me? And then it's like, oh, no, you stupid boy. Like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And that's the joke. And nice drug binge you've already gone on. But at least he's all, oh, look what you've done to his head. It's okay. He's not actually losing any blood.
A little bit for him and a little bit for me.
Nice.
Okay, we gotta get his chest open here.
Yeah, if you want to restart, I won't blame you because it is incredibly difficult to try and do this strung out.
Oh, that's alright.
Alright.
He'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'm trying to get in the ribs here.
Yeah, well, you bashed up his face a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, there
I
you
thought
go.
he was having surgery on his face.
Brain surgery. Hey, there you go. Nice clearance of the ribs there. Alright, so, yeah, this was Archie's for decades. Literally decades, Archie's just been kind of stuck in this minutia. Now, Archie Comics, in the context of what I'm referring to as, is a company called, literally, like Archie Comics. And they do have a publishing line, and one of their big things, actually, is Sonic. And they're on issue, like, I don't know, I think they've passed 200 probably at this point of Sonic comics, and they'll be influenced by what happens in the games, but they largely tell their own story, and they even had a cartoon based off of them because they created such this deep story between like Robotnik serving as a much bigger villain in a much larger world, and Sonic being like a resistance leader with like a bunch of other talking woodland critters.
I used to be into Sonic too.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites, actually.
So, and I liked those comics growing up, but I never really could get a hold of all 100 issues, this being really before the widespread internetness that is now. Where it'd be very easy to read these. And so for a long time, that was Archie Comics. They've tried to do a bunch of other stuff because they're a publishing line like Marvel or DC. But what happened was, recently they've had a...
Oh, I killed him already?
Oh, no.
I thought I gave him drugs to slow down. I couldn't even see.
I think it's to stop bleeding. Although that's...
Brutal murder. 2 minutes.
Yeah. That was a fast one.
That was fast.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. So I think... I get the impression we got a new editor in recently, and there are a ton of different Archie lines out there. So like there's Afterlife with Archie, which Dylan hates.
Afterlife?
Yeah, and that's the zombie thing that I'm always ranting about.
Alright.
Yeah, and it's very, very good, and one of the best comics out there, and it's about Archie fighting zombies, and everyone and anyone should read that. I don't care who you are. It's great. If you like The Walking Dead, you're stupid and wrong because you should be reading Archie zombie stories, not Walking Dead. There, I've said my part. And then there's like a more serious Archie line where they do like more dramatic things, and they actually try and take this whole Betty Veronica thing seriously and explore like their relationship. Oh, I wonder.
How did you turn it like that? Oh,
I
you turned
rotated
your
my hand, yeah.
Oh.
And then now I can hammer. Ka-cha! Oh, it doesn't do anything. All right. Well, it's helpful.
All right. Oh, when you... Sorry. I'm getting in.
Oh, no worries.
Caught up in the game again. When you press... when you right-click, does it rotate your wrist, like, vertically?
You can, yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you realized. Yeah.
I was just doing it left and right.
Ah. Well, that will help you
Rotate.
next time. All right. Come on. Get out of here. Get out of here, you friggin' rip. All right. Anyways. So in this more serious line, they've tried to explore more serious storylines. And I don't even know if they've announced it or if this is going to happen. But the point is, Archie is going to, or has died, taking a bullet for a gay friend who was about to be assassinated by a hate crime.
I was not expecting that from Archie.
No. No, and like I said...
From what I've seen, anyway.
Because we're used to these double digest stories that are vanilla humor without any depth to them.
Yeah.
It's always shocking when they actually do something like this with some depth. That being said, I haven't read the story, but that story sounds like out of the 1990s, like, oh dear, I'm bleeding out. Get the drugs. Uh-oh. Alright, anyways, so, yeah, Archie's dead. I don't really, like I said, I feel like it's just one of those PC things. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but very much one of those attempts to just like, oh, well, gay rights is relevant, so let's have Archie die heroically in a contrived situation where gay people are like regularly being assassinated these days, apparently. Okay. I'm not a fan, personally, of that whole... It's using a serious issue for a very contrived plot.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. That being said, it also is part of an attempt to sell more comic books. Not so much with the whole gay thing, like the whole saving a gay character's life thing, but with how like they exploit someone famous, like a big name dying, in an effort to sell more comic books. Now, Archie didn't come up with this idea, but rather this is an idea that's like straight out of Marvel and DC's handbook.
Oh.
And come September, we have a big event coming out of Marvel, for example, called Death of Wolverine. And this is just a recurring problem in comic books where they kill off characters in an effort to make their story seem big. Just gonna drill out. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
He's bleeding out.
Oh, dear. I'm gonna kill this guy, aren't I? See, we get so gung-ho about removing stuff that he ends up bleeding out and dying. I guess we're supposed to be delicate or something in this surgery. Who would have thought? Anyways.
There's no more drugs for him?
There probably is, but I don't, that's too much blood. I have so much parts to get rid of still. I'm just gonna attempt to race to the heart.
So did they do a good job of this story once they started off like that?
Kind of, but it doesn't really matter. Same thing with Death of Wolverine. Like, you're killing off a character to sell comics, and honestly, if you're not gonna do a story for like artistic reasons, then I don't see why I should. Oh, god damn it.
Okay, right.
Just get out of here. Trying to do some work here. Damn it. Alright, screw this. I'm gonna just kill this patient as best I can. Here. Give me drugs. There we go. Hey. Okay, yeah. So, like, this goes back as far as, like, the 90s or the 80s. There's been Death of Superman, Death of Batman. These are all characters who were legitimately killed off and brought back later. Death of Captain America. And I find it so lazy as a form of narration. Like, you're going to kill off a character, and they've done it even in comic movies, like the X-Men 3, Patrick Stewart died.
Right.
Yeah, and like, if you're going to kill off a character, at least they could stay dead, but we know that won't be the case because Wolverine's like one of Marvel's most popular characters, so
Right.
I doubt we'll get out of the series without knowing that Wolverine's alive in some capacity, and just like, I don't know, a lot of times they'll send these characters far into the past for a while, and then they have to like time travel their way to the future. Both Batman and Captain America did that. 5 minutes and 57.
It was going so well.
Yeah. How unfortunate. But yeah, so that's all I really have to say. Like, it's you hear that argument over and over again that it's not meaningless, but I feel like it's so devoid of artistic integrity to do that stuff and just pull these little tricks and attempt to sell comics.
Right.
Or movies or a TV show, like ratings, like, yeah, whatever. And people need to have more respect for their material. Both Archie Comics and Marvel and whoever else wants to kill off series. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Do you have any... I don't know, like, how familiar are you with this whole, like, comic book death thing? Like,
I think it's overdone for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know, like...
Because I know it's a pretty big trope, but I don't know how, like, anyone... Like, you're a little more outside of the comic book world than...
Well, if someone's going to die and you expect them to come back, what's the point? Like, unless dying is just another ordinary day event or something.
Yeah, and right on this wall, like, I have a nice little wall of comic book covers, and we have a ton of Superior Spider-Man there. And what happened there was Peter Parker, quote-unquote, died, and Dr. Octopus, like, had his mind put into him. And, you know, we all knew that Peter Parker would eventually come back, but it at least was a fun ride, and there was that side to it. And so, like, as much as people hate on Death of Wolverine, and I'm not going to spend, like, $20, that's how much, like, the whole series would cost if I bought it, like, at retail price. And, like, for all 4 issues, it's not worth your money at all. But if they do something interesting, so, like, for example, there's this ongoing series that's existed for a long time now called Wolverine and the X-Men, and it's about Wolverine kind of starting up his own X-Men school. What happens to that series is actually what the only thing that's come out of this that I'm actually kind of interested in, because that could actually be kind of cool. And, like, the idea is that other characters are going to take over the school, so it's going to be like Spider-Man in the X-Men, or like Storm in the X-Men instead of Wolverine. And they're going to just do that for a while until Wolverine inevitably comes back, really. I think that's a cool idea. And so if they're going to change something and do something different, and it's actually worth the price of the story, I think that can be cool. So I'll give you another example. Batman died, and I've already mentioned that, right?
Right.
The person who took his place, they actually had, like, a big fight over it and stuff. It ended up being Dick Grayson, who was the first Robin. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but I think that, and it was a very cool story. And he ended up, Batman had a son, long story, but he was like, he was raised.
Son.
Yeah. And the idea is that Batman had a son he didn't know about, and it was actually from something that, like, years ago there was a story where this girl tricked Batman into sleeping with him and stuff. So it actually did fit in with the bigger canon. Talia al Ghul, if you're familiar with that, and she had a big role in the 3rd Batman movie from Chris Nolan. She was like the secretary that turned out to be evil and was working with Bane.
No, I'm sorry.
No, whatever. But the point is, like, so Batman had a son, but he was raised by a group called the League of Assassins. So as you can imagine, he was a very dark character, even though he was a little boy, but he ended up being the new Robin. So the idea was that Dick Grayson was a much more happier, nicer Batman, because Dick Grayson's always, like, he had a background in acrobatics and stuff. So he wasn't, like, super friendly, but the idea is instead of having a more outgoing Robin and a more reserved Batman like the usual, it was flipped. And so they did something interesting with it for a while, and it was a cool idea while it lasted. And, like...
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's just my point, is that death is something that can be used for telling a new story. Then it's okay. And so we'll have to see about Death of Archie if they do something very interesting with it. I doubt it. And same thing with Wolverine, but it can work, is just my point, but it often doesn't. And yeah. So I think we've talked to that issue to death. And yeah, I don't know. I realize that I tend to talk over on comics, but that's, you're doing your own thing with the surgery here.
It's not going very well.
Well, you haven't lost a lot of blood.
I haven't done anything, no. I've been trying to figure out how to grab these things.
It's very
turn
tough.
It around. I got the wrist going a bit.
For those of you who are watching us play this game at home and are screaming as we just fuck up over and over again, it is really hard controls, and I will testify to that. Like, neither Tony and I, well, we're both not really paying attention, so we're not that great, but it's, if you do what he's doing now, like, you lose a ton of blood. By the way, you're losing like 20 per second.
Just gonna throw that over there.
Uh-oh. Well, it might have gone off the table, but that's okay.
The drugs?
Yeah, I think drugs are definitely called for right now. But yeah, it's a very difficult game. And yeah. And anyways, I just like talking about comic books. So if you don't know these things, then it's just more things for me to explain. So I could go into like Batman's son and all that, but that's like a whole other topic, and we'll save it for another day. But yes. So, Death of Archie, stupid. Captain America's statutory adventure rape thing, stupid. Isreal and Gaza situation's pretty dumb, actually. And yeah, that's all we've talked about so far. 45 minutes in, so well, that's the whole point, is we make a bunch of topics and we talk about what we feel like. So I could keep talking about comic books, or we could talk about some political stuff. It's up to you.
Both of it is fun, man. So
yeah, all right, well, let's keep going on comics then. So because the next one's actually a really funny story, and I want to tell it. So I don't even know. Okay, let me just have a sip of water for a sec. Alright. Because I don't even know where to fucking begin with this story. And, okay, so all I wrote down was Angela's solo series. Do you know who Angela is?
No.
And don't feel bad about that one, because that's obscure. And I didn't know who she was when she got introduced, but... And this, basically, comic books have a long and difficult history with creator-owned rights versus company-owned rights. And that would have, like, for me to get into all the minutia of that, like, Batman is always credited as having one creator when he very much has at least two, if not one who is never credited.
Why don't they credit the other people?
Very complicated legal reasons, often involving contracts that go back to 1939 or so. It's a mess. DC, in a lot of ways, so the company that owns Batman, they want to recognize him. Tacit admissions from various editors over the years makes that pretty clear. But they can't, because if they admit that, then they're just liable to either get sued or lose out on their most valuable franchise in all of Warner Brothers. Like, there's no more individual character than Batman that's more valuable to them. So this is a question of millions, if not billions of dollars in revenue and future revenue from these comic book movies and stuff.
Okay.
It's a very big deal. And
so they're not paid or credited?
Not all of them. And it's a long, broken history done by malicious people in the past, and often just DC is just trying to operate within those parameters and can't recognize them without like losing a ton of money. And so I have some empathy for them, sort of. Like, they obviously need to do better, but
so they want to pay them though?
Yes. But what happens is, like, a lot of this stuff is going as high as the Supreme Court, and it's been in court for years, because if you're going to the Supreme Court, you have to have been in court for years. And it's just long-standing issues. I don't want to go into it all because it's ongoing, and that makes it like a 75-year history thing. And like I said, it'd be a whole other talk. But Neil Gaiman created a bunch of characters for, I believe, Spawn, and one of them was Angela. And Angela's just like this girl from like this heaven thing, and just this kind of badass redhead character who I and most other comic book fans who didn't really get into comics until like the mid to late 90s, if not later in my case, we have no idea who the hell this person is. So she just Marvel ends up winning the rights to her, and all of a sudden she gets introduced into the Marvel world, and she's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and she's doing all this stuff.
Okay.
We have no idea who she is. Like, I had to look her up. And
where did she come from?
Yeah, like, well, we ended up finding out, no, it's because they win this rights. And for a long time, Marvel's had this character, but pushing her, not really getting anything out of it, and not knowing what to do with her. Now, this week, I read one of the weirdest things I've read in the world, where it said, Marvel to announce new big comic book run on The View.
What?
Yes. Now,
that's a weird audience.
Yes. Because, I read that and had to sit and think for a while and try and get Marvel's rationale for it. They later did a similar thing with the Colbert Report, and actually we'll get to that in a little bit.
He was on The View, or?
No, Marvel went on the Colbert Report and announced another big title this week as well. Colbert Report I get, because you have a lot of people in their target demo, mostly males, like young, aged like we'll say 16 to late 20s. Like that's who's buying comic books. And Colbert Report is at least across both genders pretty nicely, and they should be advertising to women. But the View is for a much older demo, mostly middle-aged women, who are never going to be interested in comic books. I applaud them for trying, but that's insane. Like, literally insane. Because, like, adults are much more set in their ways and not likely to be interested in that sort of thing. Wow, nice job. Not a lot of blood left, but all you have to do is just plunk out that heart, or maybe even just try and put the new one in. You can have 2 hearts. I don't know if that'll work or not.
But I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I think I have to cut that thing.
Yeah, you do have to cut the heart out.
With one of these, or like...
Well, you could use a power tool,
thing.
yeah. But yeah, so Marvel goes on The View, and again, no one has any idea why. All the site says we're making their usual jokes about this, but it's just Marvel being crazy. Okay. And they announced something that they've been hinting at for a little while in the comic books. So Thor is doing his own thing, but pretty soon he's going to be declared not worthy to use the hammer.
Oh.
Now, have you seen the first Thor movie?
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of the plot of it, as he loses his thing. And so it's not unheard of, because it's been a long-standing plot point that whoever is worthy can use Thor's hammer. So Captain America, they haven't done this in the movies, actually, but he can use Thor's hammer. That's been established. Cool. He just, it's Thor's. But, like, if not, like, so, like, there was one story that took place in the future, and Thor wasn't around, so Captain America was using his hammer and stuff. Cool ideas
awesome,
like that. Yeah. So on The View, they announced that Thor is eventually going to be declared not worthy of using the hammer, and Angela is going to be the new Thor. Now, that actually is kind of a neat idea, because they haven't really had Thor as a woman before.
Okay, cool.
But it's really, like, the idea is that Thor is sort of like an idea and a god. You have held the record for longest surgery yet. Brutal murder achieved in 11 minutes and 50 seconds.
I didn't do very much for the first, 5 minutes, but...
that's alright.
He lived a little longer.
Yeah. So...
because of that.
Yeah. So the idea is that Angela's going to be revealed to be Thor and Loki's sister.
Okay.
So, like, a relative somehow to Odin, or, like, a daughter to Odin, I should say, and therefore, like, they're sisters. And... she's going to just be declared worthy to use the hammer. So it's just an interesting story, though, and it's a Marvel doing a series of insane things to reach what I actually think could be a very cool plot point. So Thor's still going to be around, which is good, because they'll make movies about him and stuff, and still going to be Thor, but the title, and the power of Mjolnir, or however you say his fucking hammer name, is going to be for Angela. And they finally found something to do with this character. And, yep, that's about it for the story. Then they go on Colbert Report and announce, and this is really interesting, because they announced that basically Captain America, as we know him, isn't going to be Captain America anymore. And whatever's going to happen, he's going to lose his ability to just basically stay young forever. I don't know exactly the hows or the whys of that at the moment, because it hasn't happened yet. And guess who's going to replace him? And this is going to tie up the podcast kind of nicely.
I'm not sure who.
The Falcon. So, cool. And I think that's why Marvel was not so... they didn't say a lot, but they were a little relieved that this whole statutory rape thing kind of blew over. And it wasn't like there was real statutory rape, just to make that clear. But, yeah, like, Falcon was a very important character to them, and they were like, well, we would not do this to our, this character that we're banking on and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Now, here's the thing that's also important for understanding comic books, is that often, if not always, their actions reflect what they want to do eventually in the movies. They like to create precedent and try out ideas that they want to do in the movies. And for a long time ago, I heard a rumor that they were trying to consider at least the possibility of, after Avengers 2, something might happen to the Avengers, where, for whatever reason, whatever happens with Ultron, because that's what the next movie's called, the Avengers aren't going to be the Avengers anymore. So Chris Evans is going to be Captain America. Well, because they talked about potentially not returning as Captain America, and Robert Downey Jr. isn't going to be Iron Man forever and stuff. So they're just considering like replacing people. So like Falcon will replace Captain America, War Machine will replace Iron Man, and maybe this Angela girl will like so there'll be a girl Thor instead of Thor like in the future.
Okay.
So it's an interesting idea where they're very much it's very possible like so and it's kind of their way of getting around like the actors not wanting to be these characters forever is they're kind of planning ahead of time to maybe be able to get rid of them if they want to and to replace them with different versions of these characters and have it totally be part of the story. And as always, I think Marvel's just thinking ahead and giving themselves options and exploring ideas while DC is just constantly playing catch up. So yeah, Superman Dawn of Dust is coming out next year. That's my big pitch for it.
Right.
Yeah, because that's, I don't know how much you've heard about that, but they're basically just attempting full out to just force a similar Avengers-like situation with the Justice League. Shit. And go for that.
Oh shit, there it goes.
Yeah. But I think it's a neat idea. And I always, like I said, if they want to do a new story, then they can kill off or change around characters like this. As long as it's done for like interesting reasons and they do interesting things with it, I think it can be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So that's my long rambling thing about comics.
Those are exciting new characters.
Yeah. I think so. And like the Falcon's not new by any means, but you know, you put them in new roles and stuff, and I think it can go a long way.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ah, hey, pick that up, guy. Don't leave buzzsaws in people, bro. Oh, he's gonna die. Yeah, so... oh, dear. Well...
This is not gonna... Well, it might end good for somebody.
Ja. Ja. Alright.
There you go.
Alright, drop the needle. Please drop the needle. It's stuck between my fingers. Oh boy. There we go.
Oh,
I just had to
perfect.
shake it from my fingers. Yeah, so I don't know. You can pick out. I think we have enough time for one more topic to thoroughly explore. Sorry, this has been very one-sided for you, Anthony. So if you wanna
That's all right.
pick something you can inject your own opinion into, by all means.
Well, you want to talk about sunscreen? Apparently you've heard recently that it...
Well, sure, because actually that is something okay, I'm going to really quickly just go through this. So on Facebook, I found not someone making this claim, but someone from I Fucking Love Science, which for those of you unfamiliar with, is an excellent...
Yeah,
Get out of
a lot
here!
of posts from them too.
Yeah, I really enjoy their posts, and I always learn something, and I have not quite been burned yet for like them not having anything not factual or not line up with reality, which is good because you always want accuracy in your science news.
Right.
And they found those people have been posting online in their usual hysterical that's not what I wanted hysterical way, like that sunscreen can give you cancer. And so sure enough, I Fucking Love Science went through all their claims, and one by one they found that each one was wrong, and I'm going to very quickly go through them.
Cool.
And while I do that...
I didn't know they did things like that.
Yeah, they do sometimes, and it's very, very helpful for instances like this. So, the first thing that people said was that they found that people who wore more sunscreen were more likely to get melanomas and stuff. And sure enough, that's vaguely true, but also completely and utterly wrong. And
Whoa.
I almost cut myself there.
Blood there yourself, yeah.
Alright. He's gonna die. That's okay. We tried. And we did not successfully complete one operation in this podcast, but that's okay. I'm just gonna comfort the patient in his last few moments of life. Yeah, so the idea is that here's the thing though, like if you wear sunscreen, what are you more likely to do?
Be in the sun.
Yes. And sure enough, the average SPF rating for people in this study was 9. 9 SPF, and the bare minimum according
So
to
people who did not want to block the sun.
yeah, bare minimum according to the CDC is 15. So this study is completely invalid. So item number 1 is bullshit. No, you are not. Yes, you are technically more likely to get melanoma if you wear sunscreen, but only because you're more likely to be out in the sun longer, and that whole thing is bullshit. Item number 2, sunscreen blocks out your access to vitamin D, and
that's what they said in this article too, or in the
in the crazy article, yes. Now, vitamin D is obviously important, and vitamin D does indeed come from the sun. Goodbye, patient.
Is that what they're trying to say, though? It doesn't work, and you won't get any vitamin D.
Well, they were saying that like vitamin D deficiency has been linked to all kinds of horrible things, mostly like dietary problems and all that stuff. But the amount of so item number 1 is that you need about 20 minutes of unblemished time in the sun to get your daily dose of vitamin D. So people who are going to be on the beach all day obviously need to still wear sunscreen, and in between the day, at some point or another, you'll get your chance of UV rays. And vitamin D is also in a million different food things. It's very easy to replace that in your diet. So item number 2 is bullshit. It doesn't block out vitamin D. It doesn't prevent melanoma. And the last one is that endocrine, blocking chemicals or EDCs, cause cancer. And like most things, yes, it does cause cancer, but you need a ridiculous dose of it, well beyond your exposure for sunscreen. So, for anyone listening at home, or if you happen to ever read this, Tony, if anyone ever tells you that sunscreen causes cancer or isn't good for you or anything like that, just tell them they're full of shit.
Yeah, why would sunscreen be a scam?
No, they test these things quite rigorously before doctors start recommending them. And while it is true that sometimes the medical community or other communities can be corrupt or whatever, there is no evidence at the time that sunscreen is anything but very good for you. So that's an important summer lesson. But I also think it's very indicative of just a larger issue, though, out there where, the internet is bad at science, and crazy rumors get spread. There was two people have talked about this, independently that I've seen, and someone joked, so there's a lot of hubbub because this Dallas Cowboys cheerleader who posed in front of a dead lion or something like that, which you can dispute whether or not that's valid.
Like on a hunting trip or something.
Yeah. But so someone in response jokingly posted a picture of Steven Spielberg posting in front of a triceratops from Jurassic Park. But people actually got pissed off. And
why?
Well, because they thought it was him posing in front of a real triceratops that he shot and killed.
That's hilarious.
Yes. So, you guys gotta pay attention to science, but also you have to be very careful about what
real triceratops, because that happens.
And you have to be very careful about what sites you trust, because even a lot of people can get something wrong sometimes, and they don't post retractions very broadly or anything like that, and you end up having to be very selective and constantly have to second guess some of the stuff you read on the internet. And that's why I was saying about I fucking love science. That's how I put it earlier. I have yet to be misled by them. And that's not me being overly pessimistic. It's just I am always aware that some of the stuff they tell me might be wrong. Maybe sunscreen does cause cancer, but but I fucking love science. Other than these other random web pages out there photoshopped nonsense and all that stuff. They show sources and peer-reviewed stuff, and they consider facts and make their decisions based on evidence. And you just need to find people like that. I know Snopes is a good site for that sort of thing. I like Science Daily because they very much they very much pull real journals, and they'll have the citation right there, and they don't overinterpret things like a lot of more mainstream sites do.
Right.
And it's just a constant battle. You have to always be reading stuff, and then it's always important to remember like what a single researcher says may not be true either, and it really just depends on like who's writing it and what their evidence is. Oh my God, look at your loss rate.
I'm just maxing this guy.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. We're kind of near the end of our recording anyways, so yeah.
I feel like a terrible person.
That was an excellent massacre. You were getting up to like...
with the needle.
Yeah. You were getting up to 151 milliliters per second being lost. Brutal murder, dude. There is one thing I'd like to note. I think we're about done here anyways, but actually here, I'll even show it to our dear viewers at home and you. So I noticed the clock here says 1:58, right?
Right.
It is 1:58 p.m. as of our recording.
Cool.
That's a very cool little detail, and I want to applaud. Oh, who did make this game? Let's pause for a minute and find out, shall we? Because we've been playing Surgery Simulator for this evening, and I don't. Well, give your review of it, Tony, while I look up who made
that
this
game. Was a lot of fun. It's very hard to control the head.
It's so hard. Oh, right.
Makes you feel bad when you murder somebody very quickly. It encourages me to practice, so I perform an excellent surgery.
Yes. Although this is the last time we'll be playing a podcast of this, but not the last time. But next week, I don't know who will be joining me, but whatever the case, we're going to do a different game. But I thought it was fun. I could see myself getting sucked into this game. I will apologize to our viewers for one thing. We both got sucked in pretty hard into this game, but it's a lot of fun. And you just got to watch us, kill so many people. Just so many people died.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun. So, Jay's Games, is that... Oh, I'm not sure. Here, I'm gonna... Oh, Nigel Burke is the man who created this. Thank you, Nigel. We both enjoyed your game very much. And you can get it online. It's owned by Bosses Studios Limited. I've never heard of them before, but you know what? I enjoyed this game, guys. It was weird. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played to control, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for sitting with me and listening to me rant about comics at you for a while. But I enjoyed it. I hope you did too.
I did.
All right, cool. And yeah, have a good evening, everyone, and that's about it. Good night.
Good night.